Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and salam sehat bagi kita semua. Aloha from paradise, from Hawaii. And Sampurasun. I always open my public address anywhere in the world with Sampurasun. It is part of a useful local wisdom I inherited from the community I was born 72 years ago in Bogor, a city in the West Java province of Indonesia. It simply means I ask for permission to talk and I ask for forgiveness if what I say is inappropriate or incorrect. The audience are expected to reply with rampes. Yes, rampes, meaning apologies accepted. So if I talk nonsense today, I'm already forgiven, correct? Thank you very much. Good morning, Excellencies. The Minister of Communication and Information, Bapak Johnny Plate, the Minister of Education and Culture, Bapak Nadiem Makarim, Minister of Industry, Bapak Agus Gumilang Kartasasmita, the Chair of the LL Dikti, Professor Agus Setio Budi, the Chair of Board of Supervisor of the ILOMATA Foundation, Professor Safri Nurmantu, Chairman of the ILOMATA Foundation, Dr. Randes Amrullah Satoto, Rector of the Institute Stiami, Professor Wahyudin Latun Reng, distinguished speakers, and esteemed participants. I also want to pay tribute to the conference organizing committee chaired by Dr. Novianita Rulandari and her team for the hard work and in planning and implementing this meeting. The theme of this conference says it all. Digital Transformation Society 5.0, meaning we are leaving the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0 behind us. We are being fait accompli to adopt with or without adaptation digital technologies and virtual communication and education, whether we like it or not, and whether we are ready, capable, and willing or not. The tsunami of digital communication and virtual learning will transform society without mercy, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. It is a matter of to be or not to be. How then do we survive? Hopefully, this conference can enlighten us and provide some mitigation strategy on how to survive and prosper in the era of Society 5.0. Those who fail to do so will become dinosaurs. Hence, my presentation will give a helicopter view of the challenges to safeguard and survive beyond disruption in the approaching super smart Society 5.0 era. As I'm a storyteller, my education method is not to give solutions, but only to raise relevant issues and to suggest what to think about. My presentation will also give some keywords or tech words which you will need to Google it yourself for more elaboration because I cannot explain everything in detail in this 20 or 25 minutes presentation. Solution must be developed according to specific context, needs, and cultural wisdom of those who are concerned. The video of my presentation and the PowerPoint materials will all be available in the Dropbox, which you will see here. And please take a photograph so that you can get the link to my Dropbox where all the materials are available here. So you can download and review and study and analyze all those materials, including this PowerPoint, yourself at your own time at home or in your offices and discuss it with your colleagues. So take a photograph so you can get the link for you to download the materials that I presented today. As a professional courtesy, I also want to give acknowledgement and information disclosure that the materials I'm sharing with you today, the concepts and ideas, have been discussed in the various international conferences where I participated and given keynote addresses in many countries in Africa, in Europe, and also in Asia, including Indonesia, where I also provided many public lectures over the last 10 years. The lists are provided here. I also issue every quarter a list of 10 most important concepts and ideas that are related to the disruption area issues or problems. And these are the 10 that you can uh, review by yourself in your own time. But some of these concepts will be discussed here. Maybe about 3 or 4 of this concept will be discussed during my presentation later on. Let me first clarify an important conceptual principle of the Super Smart Society 5.0 as defined by its proponent, the Keidan Ren of Japan, as introduced by the Prime Minister Shinzo Abe at the CeBIT conference and computer fair in Hanover in Germany in March 2017. The biggest strategic paradigm change in the shift from Industry 4.0 to Society 5.0 is the transformation from digitalization to personalization. This is a tall order. We have just been transformed almost overnight to become digital netizens, virtual communicators, and remote mediated learners, and have become less personable. How can we then restore and increase more collaborative and integrative personalized communication and social behavior in order to improve personable family, group, and community spirit, interaction, and cohesiveness? As a storyteller, I will also discuss about these challenges using 3 case stories. And here they are. The first one is we should not only get COVID vaccine, but also we need to get communication, inoculation, and belief immunization. The second one, do you know that you have a slot machine in your pocket? Yes, many of us are being programmed to be addicted. And we also face now at least 2 health hazards in the disruption era. The first one is infobesity, and the second one is IAD, and that is Internet Addiction Disorder, which we'll discuss later on. And the third story is about generational gap, and that is the conflict between parents and children because they have incompatible perception and expectation on career prospects of their children in Society 5.0 era. And I will give just one example of the AI-based data analytics and robotics example later on. So let's talk about the first story, which I show in the slide. And that is the case for another vaccine, not only COVID vaccine, but we also need communication information and belief immunization. Use some digital technology disruption and perpetuated by the COVID-19 pandemic, our family, community, and society's interaction, cohesion, and integration have diminished, disjointed, and deteriorated. Furthermore, the post-truth phenomenon give rise to infodemic of fake, hate, and hoax disinformation. This decentralization of information and communication, plus the almost free digital communication and networking tools, give netizens the right and ability to generate, distribute, and manipulate information on any subjects, often without responsibility, ethics, and netiquettes. This disinformation effort, often using AI-based algorithm, can create political, social, religious, or ethnic disharmony and conflicts, leading to mental distress and impersonal social behavior. Such communication can create stress and conflict and fear, uncertainties, anxieties, and other mental disorder. Such information and communication can create also many problems, and therefore netizens using virtual communication technologies should be digitally literate and master the competencies of being astute and critical communicators. More importantly, society should not only get COVID vaccines. To counter the infodemic disinformation, people should be given also communication inoculations, as proposed by William Maguire in 1961. The psychologist of Yale and Columbia, William Maguire, back in 1961, proposed a theory of communication inoculation and demonstrated that vulnerability persuasion could be prevented by belief immunization because it provides resistance to persuasive influences. Application of the concept of inoculation theory should be incorporated in the curriculum of public education for all levels, elementary school to university level, and also at non-formal and continuing education for all. And these are the type of contents that needs to be included in such a curriculum as I show in this slide. In addition to that, we also need to incorporate the important aspects about cyber law education in order to help the legislation and enforcement of digital and cyber communication regulation. Many of us are saying that cybersecurity and cyber forensics are very important these days in order to regulate the situation and the problem that we are facing in cyber law and cyber crime as well. Here are the issues that has been discussed by people around the world, and this is the problem or the conflict between personal data protection and the freedom to use data for many useful purposes. And here is basically a controversy between the two school of thought, and we can learn probably from the European General Data Protection Regulation strategies and laws that are being put in place in Europe. Let's now discuss my second story, and that is about having slot machines in your pocket. We are being programmed to be addicted. Due to the widespread of use of mobile devices, personal and group interactions have been significantly reduced, especially during the pandemic started. Now, almost all of us are glued to our mobile devices to function and survive in our daily lives. It is used for almost all conceivable tasks, including shopping, entertainment, leisure, and fun. As a consequence, we are having health problems, not only due to obesity or overweight, but also because of infobesity. We are also now having a problem and suffering from IAD, the Internet Addiction Disorder. This is a serious problem, especially for children who are isolated from their physical and social interactions with their friends during the pandemic period. The increasing dependency on mobile devices by adults and children is worrisome, as the use of smartphones and tablets is highly addictive. Many mobile apps or applications have been developed using sophisticated software technologies that produces dopamine stimuli for users, especially children, through their use of games, among other applications. We need to mitigate and minimize the effects of digital technology communication addiction. Netizens, and more importantly, policy and decision makers, legislators and regulators, and educators should understand the new psychological concept of captology. The question is, how many universities are aware of this captology science? How many universities have incorporated captology in their curriculum? And if they are not doing this, then the private sector and many corporations are doing that. And they are already doing it, producing software and devices that uses the whole concept and strategies of captology and producing dopamine in all those products that they are selling to us, to adults as well as to children. So educators and public policy makers will need to understand the implication of the persuasive technology that is called captology, which is being widely used now by the corporate sector, by the private sector, and by the startups that is dealing with software technology. And as you can see here, BJ Fogg, the leader in this area of captology, at the Persuasion Technology Lab at Stanford, has come up with the book on captology, and that is understanding how computers manipulate people. I have many slides here, which I do not have the time to elaborate in detail, but you can review it yourself in your own time. You have the link to my PowerPoint so that you can see the strategies on how to hook us and to make us addicted to our mobile phone and other communication and computer devices. Okay? So parents will also need to be re-educated in educational psychology, especially on captology, in mentoring and coaching, in multimedia learning methods, as the responsibility in homeschooling for their children have increased. Furthermore, we need to realize that data and information is the new oil in the era of disruption and Super Smart Society 5.0, as it is needed for big data analytics and other AI-based applications. However, the issue of privacy of data, the danger of cyber crimes in the use of such data and information have created controversies regarding privacy of personal data, information rights, communication regulations, etc. Okay, here is my third story about the generational gap and divide, the conflict between parents and children because of the incompatible perceptions and expectation about career prospect in the society 5.0 era. It is true that many of the disruptors and young startup entrepreneurs did not reach their goal, especially in becoming unicorns or decacorns. However, some of them have become sources of inspiration and role models for the FANG generation. What is the FANG generation? That is the Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google generation. Consequently, many children who are digitally literate have been exposed to new career choices needed for the disruption era. However, many parents are not aware of the new career prospect resulting from the technological change. They still persuade their children to pursue studies for safe occupations such as medicine, engineering, accounting, architect, etc. And many parents still impose their insistence and direct or indirect pressures regarding their preferred study program for their children. Consequently, large number of students are not able to develop and maximize their full academic and intellectual potentials based on their own passion, aspiration, and talents. Based on what I've said earlier, here are some of the challenges. More effort through public education should be given to parents regarding the changing marketplace and the new career typologies in the next 5 to 7 years. Education institution at all levels should offer special counseling sessions for parents and children to discuss changes, new demands for potential career opportunities in the new era of Society 5.0, as I question in this slide, so that universities can also share tacit knowledge of startup entrepreneurs and the kind of lessons they learn from startup and disruptors' best and poor practices in incorporating their strategies and business models in their companies that are very successful. One example I'm going to use here is in the area of artificial intelligence or AI tech industry, including robotics, machine learning, and big data analytics enterprises as shown in these slides. As you can see, now in the area of artificial intelligence, the competition is basically dominated by China, although many other countries are also competing in this field. We also see that in terms of the conflict or competition between China and the United States, the problem and the danger is not really in the trade war between US and China, but more critical and more important and more dangerous is the technological war. And as we can see, just in this area of artificial intelligence competition in the use of robotics, etc., China is way, way ahead of the competition. As you can see in the perception AI, in the beginning, say in 2013, US is still leading with a score of 9-1. And by 2018, China is catching up. The score is about 6-4, a little bit ahead over the United States, but then the prediction for 2023, China will dominate by far, and China has a score of 8 versus United States, which is only scoring at 2. In all measurement about the technology application, the kind of companies that deals with AI-based technology, and also the other consumer-based applications. What does it mean practically? Very simple. Years back, say 5-10 years ago, what happened is there are a lot of products made in China, but they are copied from the United States. Fast forward 5-7 years from there, and now we're entering the age where people or countries or other companies are copying from China, not copying from the United States anymore. And see, these kind of companies and many other companies that can be seen in also in the internet or in Google. As a consequence of the robotics or AI-based technology application, of course, there are a lot of job displacements problem, as it can be seen in this slide. And the implication is that if your people work, what happened to the nation's income? That means payment of taxes by those who work. And because of many people are unemployed, legislators are now looking at the possibility of taxing robots, which replaces those people who are now being unemployed. And that is a very, very important new development. And we are having in California already a robot tax debate and how to practically tax robot. And this is becoming reality. So all the issues I mentioned in this presentation must be addressed and resolved to enable more horizontal integration and personalization of communication as it is needed in Super Smart Society 5.0 career marketplace. Using a marketing concept of audience group segmentation as an analogy, we need to move the goalposts from a target segmentation of groups by age or by location into a target segmentation of one. And that is the core requirement for the Society 5.0, and that is transformation from digitalization to personalization. So, to sum up, are you and your children ready for the Super Smart Society 5.0 era? Well, good luck and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.